so easy. Turn.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I pray that everyone has had an awesome week on this week.
Yes, Lord.
I pray that everyone that comes across this video is in good health. Did you hear what I said?
Mm-hmm.
Good health, good will. You get what I'm saying?
Amen.
That this video finds you right where you are. And that whenever you decide to hit the play button, that you receive what you're looking for. You get what I'm saying? Remember we used to sing the song, what you looking for, what you looking for. Ain't that Kurt that song that?
Mm-hmm.
What you looking for, what you looking for. Ain't that what he said?
Yep.
So whenever I think about that, and I start thinking about all that God has done for me. In the Pentecostal church, we say, when I think of the goodness of Jesus,
Yes.
and all he's done for me,
Yes.
my very soul cries out, hallelujah.
Yes.
I thank God for saving me.
Yes, Lord.
Whenever I think about how good God has been on this week,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and when I think about and I look around at my family, that this morning we were all able to get up, right or wrong. We was able to get up and dress ourselves, right?
Yes.
As old people used to say, the cooling board wasn't my bed. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was not my resting place on this morning.
Yes, Lord.
So whenever I think about that, no one had to come in and wind me up to get ready to prepare me for my family to say so long. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, Lord.
Whenever I think about that, and I think about that I got breath in my lungs that I can inhale.
Mm-hmm.
And as they said in the movie, I can exhale.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I thank God because I'm able to do these things independently.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a machine connected to me this morning that's got to breathe for me. There's not pads on me with electrodes that's reading my heart rate. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's not a pill that I had to take this morning for no form of illness. That's enough to say, Lord, I thank you. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the biggest things that I look at, especially as African Americans, we know that our blood pressure is our silent killer, right or wrong?
Yes, Lord.
You may not have no signs of anything going on, and your blood pressure can be outrageous, right or wrong.
Yes, Lord.
Pertaining to how quick we move, we can either drop our blood pressure or we can make it rise, right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thank God because I'm able to move about.
Yeah.
I thank God this morning. See, I told y'all I was excited, and I've been excited because a couple of weeks ago we were celebrating my Savior going to the cross so that I can live.
Mm-hmm.
We were celebrating my Savior saying that it was finished. It was over whenever he got through, right or wrong.
Yeah.
That means I ain't have to offer up no sacrifice, and I ain't got to go to nobody else but him.
Yeah.
He said that he would be my mediator between him and God, right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He said no man go to the Father but by who?
By him.
By him. So I look at that and I thank God this morning because of the fact I can go to him. Whenever I have issues and I have problems, I can go to him. You get what I'm saying? Whenever I have messed up, I can go to him and say, Lord, forgive me. Jesus, have mercy. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
and
Lord.
I can hear him talking to the Father on my behalf. You get what I'm saying? She came back, Lord, to get it right. She came back to us. She trying to get back in line. Let's show some grace. You get what I'm saying? I thank God for grace this morning. See, some of us are foolish with grace, right or wrong?
Yes, Lord.
Some of us think that we can play around with grace and mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I say that, used to be in a day, whenever we was younger, Pastor, you can remember this. Whenever they used to play what's called Russian roulette.
Yes, Lord.
That's playing with grace and mercy. And whenever I say it's playing with grace and mercy because of the fact some people were foolish enough to put one bullet in the gun. I call it that Barney Fifer gun. That they used to have where you could put one bullet in the gun and you spin the side of it and you click the handle to see if you want to get shot.
My Lord.
That's playing with grace and mercy. And whenever I say that, we do that.
Yeah.
We do that as people. We play with it. When we getting out here, we messing around and doing all types of stuff. When we going around here, you know that they got laws against drinking and driving. You done left the bar and know that you tow up from the float up. And you go out there to get in a car and drive. And you done made it all the way home with no accident. You done played with grace and mercy.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to last? When you going around here, you sleeping around with everybody. And you ain't married to nobody. You playing with grace and you playing with mercy.
Yeah.
Because you wondering what's going on and why the statistics are showing that the rate of STDs is high. The rate of HIV is high. Whenever we look at this, we're playing with grace and mercy. My mama used to tell me whenever I was younger and whenever I was out playing games, she used to say, baby, if you play with it long enough, you're going to either get up with a baby or you're going to get up with something that you can't get rid of. That was playing with grace and mercy. Whenever I look at it and the foolishness and the decisions that I was making, I recognize that I was playing with grace and mercy. Some of us get in the church and we're beating people up. We're playing with grace and mercy. All right. One of the things that I look at it whenever I say that we're playing with grace and mercy, how long do you think God going to allow you to continue to hurt his people? How long do you think God is going to allow you to keep mishandling his people? How long do you think he's going to allow you to keep walking in the door speaking lies over his people?
Yes.
How long do you think he's going to allow you to keep practicing witchcraft over his people?
Come on.
Whenever we look at it, we're still playing with grace and mercy. Whenever I look at our land, my daughter asked me this morning, she said, Mama, would you have another child? I said, in everything that's going on in the world today, no ma'am. No ma'am. Why should I want to bring a child into this world with everything that's going on right now? I see sometimes we miss out on what God is doing. You get what I'm saying? Are we looking at the stage that has been set? I went to one of Tyler Perry plays one time. I took my mama because that was one of the gifts that I gave to her. That I wanted us to go and experience a stage play in person. And at that time, we enjoyed Tyler Perry plays, right or wrong. So whenever I took her, I looked at the fact that the stage crew had already set up the stage. It was already ready and the curtains were open. Only thing hadn't came out was the actors that was getting ready to play the roles that they was getting ready to play.
Yes.
So whenever I look at it, is that the stage is being set and Jesus is on his way back. Are we looking at the signs and everything that's going on?
Yes.
The stage is being set. All we doing is sitting here waiting. See, some of us are in the audience and we missing out on things. You get what I'm saying? He said that he would come back, right? That no man knows the day nor the hour when he's going to return, right or wrong. So because we don't know when he's returning back, that means we need to be getting ourselves together, right? I remember they used to song, get your house in order.
Yes.
Do it today is what they used to say, right or wrong.
That's right.
We got so many of us up here thinking that we helping out God and pushing our own agenda, though. You ain't got to talk to me. It's all right. I'm getting ready to open this.
You welcome.
I'm getting ready to open this on.
Yes.
But I wanted to encourage you today. Because as I was sitting there and I was been pondering and thinking, and I knew that it was my weekend off, and I said, okay, I need to go ahead and help out Apostle this Sunday. And I don't know what you want me to do, Lord. So I said, Apostle, do you want me to open up this morning? He said, yeah, you can open up. So I started thinking, and I said, now, Lord, maybe I need to open up with what you started talking to me about on this morning. So whenever I looked at it, I want you to open up your Bibles to Matthew 25, verse 1 through 12. I'm not going to read it for you. I'm telling you where it's at so that you can read and follow along with me. But we're going to talk about 10 virgins, right? Which are very few in this day.
Yeah.
You ain't got to say nothing. Which are very few in this day. As a young woman, one of the things that I realized after a certain age, our young girls start getting teased and picked. because they've chosen to save themselves.
Because they want to be chased.
It's no longer something to be proud of, but the word let us know where right's going to sing wrong and wrong is going to sing right.
Yeah.
So we already know that the stage is being set right or wrong. Because we know what the word tells us that is wrong, it seems to be right in this day and time, right? And some of us are going about it in such a hateful way to push what we know that the word say, right? But we forget the word also let us know in loving kindness have I drawn thee, right or wrong.
Yeah.
So that meant somebody took some love with each one of us to get us drawn to Christ, right? Right? It said the Spirit draweth, right?
Yeah.
So there was something in you that drew somebody to Christ, right or wrong. It was something about the way you was living drew somebody to Christ because they wanted to know this God that you was talking about, this God that you served. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
They seen that whenever you was in your low places, how God raised you up.
Yeah.
They seen how peaceful you were whenever people thought that you should have been down. He said that I'll give you a peace that surpasses all understanding. See, I love that because sometimes whenever you get a peace and you don't understand where the peace itself comes from. But he said, I'll give you a peace. Right? That means there's not a peace that you had to work hard for. He said, I gave it. You get what I'm saying? See, what I love about the gifts of God is that whenever he give it to us, we don't have to work for it. He just give it. You get what I'm saying? But now whenever we give gifts as people, sometimes we give them because of how somebody treated us, right?
Right.
You don't know to talk to them? I can talk for myself then. Because I know I've done that before. You giving me good service, I feel that I deserve to give you a nice gift. You get what I'm saying? One of the biggest things about a tip is a gift.
That's right.
I never forget whenever I used to always say, no, I tip people according to the service that they give me.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving a sacrifice to you to let you know I appreciated the extra step that you took to make sure that my service was good. Do you not know that's what God is doing with us?
Yeah.
That's what the Father is doing with us. Whenever we get these gifts from him, that's what he's doing with us. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in this text, you should have had a chance now that you should have read it. And in this text, one of the things that I look at, that it was talking about 10 virgins. 5 was foolish and 5 was prudent, right?
Or wise. Because they say wise, not prudent.
So whenever I look at it, when I look at it,
Prudent and wise is the same thing.
all right. So whenever I look at it, and I was getting ready to go there because I was getting ready to say prudent is wise. So whenever I looked at it, one was getting prepared for where they was getting ready to go, right? The other ones got excited because they were going. How many of us get excited when we get ready to go somewhere? And whenever you get ready to go, you always tend to leave something.
Yeah. That's right.
That's me. That's me. But now they got smart because whenever me and Apostle say we get ready to go somewhere, I start packing ahead of time so that I can start making sure that I have everything in line of what we're going to need for the amount of time that we're going to be gone. Now, I always leave certain things out to go get while I'm there so that I don't have a bunch of little bags going with me, right? So that means if I don't go, most of the time I go and I pick up a new toothbrush, I go and get new toothpaste because of the fact I don't want these things to spill out in my bag. You get what I'm saying?
Come on.
But sometimes whenever we go pertaining to what my finances look at, because see, that's wise, right?
That's right.
So pertaining to what my finances are looking like, I'll take it from the house. Because most of the time we tend to buy everything in bulk. So because we buy in bulk, the wise thing to do is financially we're not where we would normally be when we get ready to take this trip.
Yes.
So now I need to make room in my bag to take it from the house, right or wrong.
That's right.
So whenever I looked at this and I was reading and I started paying attention to what was going on, sometimes when you get an invitation to places, you get excited. You just ready to go, right? And whenever I thought about it, it said that the 5 foolish only took what they had at that time and they was ready to go, right? So they took that oil and they lamp. But now the other 5 that was wise, they took extra oil to go with their lamp. You get what I'm saying? So they went let me know, wait a minute. So they had oil for lamps. So that meant that was their lighting, right or wrong?
That's right.
All right, so whenever I looked at that and I started thinking about the oil and how 5 took extra and 5 didn't, you was going to eventually run out because you had a place of waiting for the bridegroom to come out, right? So you're waiting. Is that not what we're doing now? Is that not what the church is doing? Because this is one of the parables that Jesus had given, right? So he already knew that some of us would never be prepared for when he came. Some of us will start losing faithfulness in him, right or wrong?
That's right.
That's one of the things that I love about, because right before he went back to, when he came out of Calvary and whenever he got up, and before he went back, it was talking about the ones that believed in him and him coming. You get what I'm saying? And one of the things that I look at is that his return, one of the things that I keep in mind is that when he come, I want to go back with him. I don't want to have to be here going through tribulation. I want to go whenever he come back. And I started thinking about it because he said, I go to prepare a place for you. And whenever I looked at it and I thought about it, it said the bridegroom, and the church has always been represented as the bride of Christ, right or wrong?
That's right.
And that's waiting for him to come back. Then I looked at it and said, years ago, whenever a man came and asked your mama, could he marry you or your dad? Because he went to your daddy, he never went to your mama. He went to your daddy, he went to the head of the household.
That's
so
right.
whenever he went to the dad and asked, could he have your hand in marriage, that he left to prepare a place for you to have to go.
That's right.
He left to make sure that you had a home that you was going to. Because one of the biggest things that I looked at is that in order to have got ready for marriage, you had to be prepared to be married. You had to be able to be a provider to be married. One of the things that I looked at is that whenever Apostle and I was talking about getting married, and most girls, how excited they get about their wedding day, that was never me. Because my thing was, I always said, baby, we can take that money and put it somewhere else. We ain't got to put that money in no wedding for everybody to come just to celebrate with you and say, oh, we had such a nice day.
And eat up your food and everything. And eat up your food.
Eat up your food and say, oh, she had on a nice dress. Oh, he had on a nice tux. Oh, it was beautiful. But you got to pay somebody to put the stuff up. You got to pay somebody to take the stuff down. You got to pay somebody to cook the food. You got to clean the vineyard. You got to pay for all these things just to make sure that that day is special. So whenever I look at it, when Jesus returned, it's supposed to be special. And we can put that much of commercialization into preparing a wedding in the natural. Why can't we put that much of our living for Christ in motion for his return? Because what tends to happen is anything can happen before the day of that wedding.
That's right.
Anything can happen. But see, whenever Christ returned back, it doesn't matter what happened. You could have been laid to rest over 20 years ago. But when he comes, guess what's going to happen? The grave is going to give up the dead. So that means your life itself is going to speak for you.
That's right.
How well did you prepare for his return? See, it doesn't matter because, see, whenever I looked at it and I thought about it, is that whenever you put all these things, all your money out, if something happened before the day you get married, you don't get all your money back.
Nope.
You get a percentage. See, this is what we do. But I want to show you something. When Jesus come back, everything that we did is living for him, working for him, and doing and calling, bringing people to him, because that's one of the biggest things that he told us to do. He said, go ye therefore teach all nations, right?
That's right.
Then he compelled us to love, right? See, it doesn't matter how many tongues and how many hands I done laid on. That's a part of it. But the love and teaching them and compelling men to come to him and showing them how to live, that's going to weigh more than anything. Because if I don't have love in my heart, everything that I did has been useful.
It's for naught. You ain't getting no prorated price when he come back, because if something happened before your wedding and you're not able to go through with the wedding, they may give you a prorated price, but then if you don't look at the contract may not give you nothing at all.
Exactly.
So you have to be careful of what your contract says. So you got to read well the contract. Contract might not give you nothing back. They may only give you $100 back. They may just give you the deposit back. So you have that same thing with your caterer. You have to be careful of what the contract says. So you're right. When we look at what the contract is saying, when we accept Jesus Christ, we get everything. I go back to one of the TikToks you looked at the other day where the guy was doing all the rapping and the raging, and he's saying that all of these Christian conservatives and, we're trying to force people into believing, this, that, and the third about Jesus Christ. And, he was talking about free will, and he just believed in free will. He don't believe in, everything that God is saying. And if God gave man free will, that's what he believed in. And it's just in choice. It's nothing else. And if anything there is, he'll just wait and see what happened when God come back again. And if he's wrong, oh, well, he'll just deal with it when it comes. And there's so many people that think that way. And it's sad where he was a believer and now he's in between and he just believes in the free will because of what's going on now. And it's sad that when you look at it, bless you, and that go to truth, because when you look at the 5 foolish and the 5 wise, he's only got enough oil in his lamp. And when that day comes, as Paul talks about, there it is again, believe that go to truth again. When that day is done, there it is. When that day dawns upon us, as Paul talks about in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, and he began to crack that eastern sky and the trumpet sound. And the dead in Christ does rise, and we got to now meet him in the air to forever be with him. Where he going to be? When judgment now comes to the house of the Lord, and it begins with us, where will he appear if he begins to be one of those that are ungodly because you just believed in free will? So your free will says that I choose to do what I want to do and how I want to do it when I want to do it because I got free will. So now you're no different than Lucifer, and you're no different because now you want to take portions of the Bible and say that's what God gave Adam. Adam's free will was to now choose right from wrong. So how do you know you chose the right thing by doing what you're doing? So that's what happened with these 5 wise and 5 foolish. They took more. You just said, are we really prepared? Are you really prepared when it comes to the wedding? Did you make sure that when you made all this preparation, you had all what you... Half the time people are not prepared before they die. I'm prepared before I die because they take the money out the bank every month. So if I die today or tomorrow, God forbid, you ain't got to worry about how you going to bury me and if you going to live thereafter because you got enough to put me in the ground, but you got more than enough to live thereafter. So if you don't want to go straight back to work, your bills are still paid. Not only are your bills are paid, not only can you pay for your house, but you can still eat and do whatever you want to do. So at the end of the day, how many of us else can really say that they're taken care of when it's all said and done? We don't do that. And it's not just black folk like it used to be where black people, African Americans, or whatever you want to call yourself, are not prepared. Now you got to have fish fried, you got to have chicken balls, you got to have chicken, you got to fry some chicken, you got to have where they got to go from it now. Are you prepared? Is the oil in the lamp enough? Or here it is now midnight and the bridegroom, they cried and went out, hey, make ready. Are you making ready? When the knock come at midnight, Jesus had said, at midnight your soul required, just like he gave in another text, I think in the Gospel of Luke. He said, your soul is required. You done build some big old barns now. I'm going to make my soul happy and I'm going to rest. I'm going to take my rest. And at midnight, Jesus came for him. What happened if Jesus do that at midnight and your midnight is at 10 o'clock in the morning? Your midnight is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Your midnight is at 6 o'clock in the evening. And now he said, thy soul is required. What you going to do then? Now somebody else going to eat the food in your barns. Somebody going to live in your $5.5 billion house. It ain't nobody but you or nobody but you and your wife and your one son. And now somebody living in your house. They had to now auction off all the stuff because can't nobody use it. We buy all of these multi-million-dollar houses, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $200,000 houses, and ain't nobody living there but you. You got a 5-car garage and you ain't got but 1 car. So what are we doing? We doing more wasteful spending, and we're wondering in this country why we have so much and we don't have enough, and we don't have the budget that we need because of the unnecessary spending, because of the people that we have in the places that they are, that are managing and mismanaging and misappropriating and think that they're doing well, but they're pocketing the things that are there because of the committees that they have that are now making sure that everybody else is getting rich, but the country going broke. Go ahead. I'm a hush.
No, you good. But my thing is, and I really, whenever I look at this, are we really getting prepared? Because one of the things that caught my attention is that it said in verse 8, and the foolish said unto the wise, give us your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
Yeah, so give us of your oil.
So whenever I look at it, so many people are falling away from the church.
Yes.
They're falling away from the body of Christ. And some of it is that they have been hoodwinked through the church. Thank you, hoodwinked. Thank you. Through the church. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever they came to the church, they was looking for something. Whenever we started off, I said, remember, Kurt Franklin had the song out, What You're Looking For. Ain't that what I said?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I look at that, are we really giving people Christ? Or are we giving them us? Are we doing the agenda and the work of God? Or are we doing what we feel is going to make us rich? Because every time you hear something about the church, it's more negative than positive.
Yes.
And some of it is that we've sat back with our mouths quiet.
Yeah.
And we haven't said anything. We have now came a part of the foolish. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're supposed to speak out whenever we recognize that there's something wrong going on. If they kick you out, that's fine. Let them kick you out for telling the truth. Some of us are so worried about our friendships and our finances. Come on. It's going to be that God said that he will provide for us, right? We so busy providing for ourselves that we don't allow him to provide for us, right? He said that he would give us what we need, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said that he would meet our needs, right? So, and one of the biggest things I look at, he also gives us a lot of our wants too.
That's right.
And one of the biggest teachers that I look at it, I look at it as if we're made in the image of God, which we are, we are little gods, right? And I say that because whenever we have children, we're more like God. You get what I'm saying? Because you teach your children how to live, right?
Yes.
You teach them how to survive in the world, right?
Yes.
Do they always listen? No.
Nope.
Do we always listen and follow what the Lord tells us to do? If he tells us to go right, we go left. Did we follow what he said do?
No.
If he said, go thy way and sin no more, we still find ourselves going back to the things that we enjoy. Did we listen? Is that not what our children do?
Right.
That's right.
Whenever you give your children good sound advice and they go the opposite way of what you have shared with them, is that any different than what we do?
Yeah.
Is it any
None
different?
at all.
But if they need shoes, guess what we're going to go do? We're going to go buy shoes. And most of us as parents, I know I was going, because Christian is the only one that never asks for anything. That daughter of mine, she asks for everything. She asks for the world. And most of the time, I go out and I give her what she wanted. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most of the time. But you never ask for anything, so you can't get mad because that's you. You never open your mouth. But she asked. So whenever I look at it like that, is that did she really deserve a lot of the things that I bought?
No, not really.
That's what we do with the Father.
Yes.
You hear what I'm saying? He provides what we need and what some of our wants are. But how well do we really follow what we're supposed to do?
Look
How
out.
is it that we continue to want his blessings, but we don't want to do the work to get the blessings? You
Look
know
out.
what I'm saying? We don't want to live right for him to continue to bless us. We don't want to continue to talk right for him to bless us. Go ahead.
Because sometimes I can say it, I say it. It's too hard.
It is not. So you telling me it's hard to live for God?
No.
So how hard is it for you to love? But he said love your enemies too, right?
Yeah.
How hard is it to love? One of the biggest things I look at is that we got the family rule sign in our house. And it says to forgive and forget, right?
Mm-hmm.
How hard is it to forgive? Now, the forgetting part, we all know that's hard because our brain is wired like that. It tends to play what has happened over and over again. But we can control that too, right?
Yes.
If we choose to, right or wrong. So how hard is it?
It's hard as we make it.
It's hard.
And sometimes we make it harder than what it really is because of the fact that we don't